We're being reborn and we look at this nation, we want to go backwards and see what made the nation great. What made the nation great was always a strong agricultural system. And that technology, that expertise was then exploited. That exploitation caused many of us to back away from agriculture. And we monetized the food, but we were dealing with free labor. The huge inequity that started, it got people very angry, got people very sad, very frustrated. So here comes all the problems that come from that, right? So we're moving back to the circle, spiraling back inward.
And I think it's important to note that we're having this conversation in the midst of what I believe is a cultural shift that is happening in this country. A transformation in how we live and eat.
There's a shift in consciousness about food, about taking care of yourselves, exercise. The fact that more people are concerned with what they do or don't eat in the hip hop community means that you'll hear more.
Anybody you like in pop culture, if they're not on the health path, there's somebody in their ear right now, as we speak, telling them, you better get on the health path. Because that's what's popping. Look outside, don't be blind.
And the people being aware of it, the more we push it, the more we can get it out there. Instead of telling people, let's show people you work out every day. Show people what you eat every day. You show people everything else when you're on the red carpet, you show people behind the scenes at your videos. You don't motherfucker when you're in the gym for 2 hours.
Hip hop is truly a reflection of the community usually. It's a reflection of what's going on in the inner cities of America and now suburban America also. I think as artists, we can take the responsibility to say, this is my lifestyle, and people start gravitating towards it. This artist is into healthy lifestyle. This artist actually is into yoga. And this artist, actually is a vegetarian. When you find those things out, you're like, man, that person fly, and they do that, I'm with it.
You had this big southern migration that took place, like in the 20s. African Americans were moving out of the South, fleeing the Ku Klux Klan. They came to urban areas. They no longer wanted to farm. They wanted urban jobs. So it created a system of not only did we dismiss agriculture, it created a system where we were no longer eating the way we had been eating as sharecroppers and as farmers. We were no longer sitting at the table together. And so that southern migration brought us forward, but it also took us back.
You go to any hood, you know what you got. You got the liquor store, you got the, McDonald's, chicken store.
Chicken store,
Basically, the concept of food deserts is when you don't have access to fresh produce within like 1 to 7 mile radius. And there's a lot of neighborhoods all across America where people don't have that. It would be almost impossible for them to get their hands on fresh produce. That adds another layer of difficulty in trying to stay healthy when all you see around you is beer and cigarettes and chips and fast food.
Growing up in Brooklyn, the type of foods that I ate was a lot of fried foods, a lot of, fried chicken, fried fish.
Pork chop or fried plátano maduros or tostones or fried chicken or fried steak.
McDonald's, Jack in the Box, cookies and milk. Like I would eat that for dinner sometimes.
Mac and cheese, a lot of pasta, fried chicken, potato chips, cookies, wings, or an egg roll or some chips, whatever's on the boulevard.
A lot of African Americans believe that they eat bad, and that's their thing.
We are used to eating well-seasoned foods that taste good.
Back in the slavery days, they had to make dishes out of food that the general population didn't want to eat. The tops of turnips, the turnip greens and the tops of mustard. They learned how to make the best out of all of the imperfect conditions,
Goes back to slavery days. That's what, when they would be out in the fields picking corn, that's what they would get to eat, the scraps of the stuff, and make cornbread out of it. And so now it's just a part of Southern culture. I used to eat chitlins and pig feet, and I didn't know what they were. I was a kid, and it was good. You just eat and you don't know any better. That's what you brought up on. And then one day I walked in my mom's kitchen, and she's cleaning chitlins, and I'm like, what is that smell? And she's like, these are the chitlins. And I'm like, what is that? Explain to me what this is. And she's like, what are pig's intestines? And I'm like, you didn't tell me that before.
In the South, no one thinks that you're supposed to be a vegan. You're supposed to eat
fried chicken and fried food and pork and all of that. That's what we grew up on.
Growing up in Texas, it's kind of hard when everybody in the whole state is trying to get you to be bigger. Are you big? Are you gonna be a big football player? That's what they tell you. They don't say, damn, man, you a little big to be 11, 12 years old. They say, oh, you gonna be a big football player. They encourage you to be bigger.
Food was always a big deal for our family. If you cried, your grandma offered you something to eat. You want some pie? You want some cake?
Food has always been an important part of the African American culture. My grandmother always said that if we couldn't do anything for people, we could give them something to eat.
They feel like they're showing somebody love by feeding them. So especially if you're a chubby kid, everybody want to get on your good side of the family, and every house you go to, they're giving you more treats and more treats and more treats. Hey, I got a little ice cream for you.
My mom was a diabetic, so I should have known better. But for whatever reason, I had the sweetest tooth known to mankind.
We used to record, we'd have 4 cans of Planters red skin peanuts and 4 giant bars of Mr. Good bars. And then we'd send out for number 4 of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Being in this industry is not really being health conscious.
When you're traveling from city to city, 3 o'clock in the morning is the time when you can get a meal. Like the Waffle House becomes like, the mainstay. The IHOP becomes the mainstay.
My studio is next door to a 7-Eleven, so when it gets 3, 4 in the morning, we're going over there getting the Funyuns and, Welch's grape soda, and then we coming back over there and smoking and all of that.
You're eating before you go to the show. You might eat at the show, because now you're hungry. You built up an appetite from running on stage. Then from there, you're smoking. Then from when you're smoking, you're going to the after party, drinking like 5 bottles of rosé.
You may not realize it at that time because you're young and you're moving around and you're working your body still. But as you get older, you sit still more. All that stuff's starting to take effect when you really sit down and you look at yourself and go, damn, they'll get a little stomach. You don't see it yourself until somebody start telling you. Before you little sees, 3 years later, people going, yo, what up, fat boy?
It's interesting because rap is such a genre where it feeds off of eating good. That's what it talks about. Like when you get to making money, it's like, I'm eating. That's like a slogan in rap. And if you eating, you getting fat. That's one of the statements that you hear people say, you guys got fat when I was gone. You know what I mean? That's like the mafia thing.
I actually took a lot of pride in being a fat guy, and I embraced the image and the Fat Joe name. We got this thing of like, as more successful as we are, we think we're better because we can eat more. We was like the fat society.
When Paul and I first met, he would eat any and everything.
My highest weight was 320 pounds. That's when I was just too embarrassed to get on the scale. After that, I was, man, I ain't getting on the scale no more, man. I'm 320. It's embarrassing when you ride on the plane and you gotta ask for the seatbelt extender. Nobody wanna do that. That's not player. That's not player at all. You gotta ask for the seatbelt extender. And I would just think, man, if I died just from being fat and falling out.
I didn't think we'd live past 35. Or did. Charlie Parker died at 35. Our idols didn't make it,
One of the saddest days of my life is when he passed away. He caught a heart attack. He died too young. He was beyond talented, like one of the greatest rappers ever. And besides that, I lost a best friend and a brother. He was always big. And Pun liked to eat, and he eat all the wrong things. Kentucky Fried Chicken, a lot of Chinese food. Big Pun was one of the biggest rappers in the game, but he couldn't really move around like that. He was just so big where if we walked through the hotel, he would run out of breath before we get to his room. If we, did a show, we would make sure we did all the words to make sure he could breathe. It was just sad, man. His health was deteriorating, and we tried, man, and he just gained that weight, and before you knew it, he passed away. I should have learned then. But, I was still young, I was still wilding, I still was thinking, it is what it is. I got depressed for 2 years and I didn't care. I started eating a lot and drinking and just, and then I just got so big. It wasn't until recently that I lost a bunch of my friends to being overweight. They caught heart attacks, all of them. And just last year alone, I lost like 6, 7 friends. Young guys. 34, 32, all overweight, and these was all good guys and funny guys and make you laugh and the coolest, and you never thought they would die, and they were all too young.
passing was just a shock to us. I mean, it's still kind of shocking. It's just trying to come to grips with it.
It's too soon. It's too young and doesn't make sense.
You know, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're supposed to check yourself up. You know, you gotta maintain yourself.
It's the most important thing to take care of your health early on because, you know, you get up there in age and you got all these problems and, you know, at a certain point it's too late.
The age of people passing away is getting younger and younger.
We cannot assume if we're young that tomorrow's promised. So it's a day to really reflect on a great young man.
He was inspirational, he was a friend, he was a brother. Just a genuine dude. He's gonna be well missed, but he's gonna be remembered.
It was an extension of who he is. It was love and a lot of joy, a lot of tears, but tears filled with joy.
That's why I love Heavy D, because Heavy D, he put love in family first and foremost.
Heavy did it, and he did it like a king. You know, he felt it was very important to give a positive message in his music, and he always stuck to that.
The love still lives on through all of us that were touched, influenced by him. I think those who were influenced by him carry the love that allows him to live on forever.
We would talk about something called the barbecue, and what the barbecue represented was coming to a place in life where we didn't have to worry about bills and health and all of that. So he got to the barbecue sooner than I did, but that's where he's at right now. So he's going to be missed, sorely missed.
Hip hop loses heavy. See this? Yeah, that's the craziest thing, man. Heavy D inspired me, I mean, to the highest of levels. He was a big guy like me. He liked the girls. He liked being fly. We never seen a big guy dress fly like that before, dance and have fun like that. Just a classy guy, man, a stand-up guy, beautiful person, man. And you know, it's really, really, really sad.
This childhood obesity epidemic right now costs our nation about $15 billion a year. The adult obesity in America costs upwards of $150 billion a year. You know, when I talk to pediatricians who were trained in the 60s and 70s, they tell me that they never learned how to deal with diabetes because they didn't have to. Children didn't have diabetes. At the time, type 2 diabetes was called adult late onset diabetes. And your grandmothers or your elders would all go to a doctor at some point in their life and find out, oh, you have diabetes. Well, now we have children presenting with adult diseases at this point in time. If a child is overweight or obese, they are 30 to 40% more likely to have diabetes in their lifetime, have hypertension in their lifetime, have a stroke in their lifetime, have heart disease within their lifetime.
As Surgeon General, I have the challenge of being America's doctor. One of the areas that we notice where there are disparities is in minority populations, African Americans and Hispanics, Native Americans. Things like obesity and childhood obesity, diabetes and hypertension and strokes.
These populations are the fastest growing populations in the country. So the fastest growing populations in the country are living sicker and have the potential of dying younger than other populations in our country.
If you are an African American, you're nearly twice as likely to suffer a stroke than your Caucasian counterparts.
In this country, there's 75 million children, okay? 23 million of them are overweight or obese at this point in time. That's 1/3 across the board. If they're African American, born after the year 2000, 2 out of 3. If they're Latino, 2 out of 3.
And if these trends continue, this could be the first generation of children not to live as long as their parents.
The nature of spiritual evolution is very simple. It's like being on a train and you're riding uptown and you know the place you're going is downtown. You have to get off the train, go to the other side, and go the other way. And that's an individual's choice because everybody on the train is riding the wrong way. You have to get the fuck off the train and go the other way. And then make choices from the inside out rather than the outside in. We don't have to be sheep. We don't have to be any of these things, but each individual has to make that choice. If you don't make the choice on your own, it's never gonna work because they'll make a choice for you. I'm gonna eat this nasty ass, fat, uncomfortable shit, and you eat it and you get the little high, but then what do? Eventually you feel sick and fat and weighted down. You go out and you sniff coke and you drink and you think you're having fun. You wake up in the morning, you have an extreme fucking headache, and then most of the day you're trying to clean up your head and then you go back and do the same shit.
Paul, wow, man. He was losing it at one point, I ain't gonna lie. Paul was looking big. I used to always tease Paul every time I seen him, man. I was just like, wow, you getting fat. You about to be out of there.
I started noticing the promethazine at the studio all the time, sip and drink. They're mixing it different ways, you know. That was like the drug of choice at the studio. The more he sipped, the more he drank, the bigger he got.
The syrup just tears your metabolism up because it slows your heart rate down, slows your body down, and it puts you to sleep, you know, and has you feeling groggy. You know, after 10 plus years of drinking it, you know, I'm pretty slow.
Paul Wall, that's all he used to drink. When I made the song Grills, he was the person who gave me my first taste of lean. He explained to me what that syrup and that soda could do to me. He's like, JD, if you notice all the dudes that's leaning and drinking this, they all big. And he wasn't trying to get that big. But if you stay on that pace, you definitely gonna get there.
You'll see people out here who's sipping on that syrup just blow up real fast, man. Get real fat fast. It ain't just the drug itself, you know, it's a lot go with it. You know, taking that drug make you not want to go work out or eat healthy, or you just be chilling and it just get bad, man. Everything gets slow. You feel irritable. I don't want to be fussing at my kids, but I'm fussing at my kids because I ain't slept in 2 weeks. I don't want to be bothered by being a dad. I want to lean right now.
This is the cycle of the same negative behavior. But one night you forget to get high or you fall asleep, and then you wake up the next morning refreshed, and you find out that morning meditation is better than late night drinking. But then you have to be committed to remember what this gives you. And then you have to make it your habit, and that takes personal strength.
I went to my man's funeral and I seen his daughter. His daughter was like 4 years old, same age as my daughter, and I looked at it and I was like, yo, I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave my daughter like that.
The obligations, responsibilities as a man make you realize, man, you know what, I need to put my kids before my pleasures. That's why I found a lot of motivation in wanting to get my life together, wanting to be a man and be a father to my kids instead of just living life for my own pleasure. Now I wanted to live for my kids.
I would love him regardless to how big he got. It was just really unhealthy, and I worried about how long he would be around. And I didn't like how unhappy he was with himself. To me, he seemed depressed.
The results you want to see in your life, the successes you want to see, whether it's through your work, whether it's in your relationships, it starts with like who you are and how you feel about yourself.
I had surgery New Year's Eve of 2010, and I had did everything I could do up to that point to try to lose weight. And I felt like this was my last resort having the surgery, because I wasn't just overweight, I was morbidly obese. And the doctor told me that if you're 50 pounds overweight, it takes 15 years off your life. That's real time. 15 years is a long time. So I said, man, you know, this is an investment for my life, for my family. It's something I really need to do. I can either wait till it gets too bad and I have no choice, or I can get on it now so that I'll be here till I'm 70, 80, 90 years old.
We were very supportive of him because we were all worried about him. You know, we love him. We want him to be around forever and ever and ever. We have children. Like, you know, it's my soulmate.
When I went in to get my surgery, I didn't want to do something that was only going to have me right for, you know, a couple years. It's the lifestyle changes, and not just, well, he got surgery, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had surgery, but I train, I go hard in the gym, I eat right, it's a lifestyle change.
Where we headed to now?
Eden Canyon, man. It's like my new, it's my new trail. I did 4 months at Runyon and kind of took it over. So I figured, you know, I'd change it up on starting my third 60-day challenge, which is pretty much going to be my entire core.
Once you complete the first 60 days, then the next 60 days is to rebuild the body. And then the next 60 days is just maintenance. So through the hikes and the training and our diet and meal plans, we're able to create a stable environment for people.
Game's awesome. He's inspiring a lot of people to stay on their fitness and work out. When you have other people that want to motivate you, it makes things a lot easier. It makes working out fun.
Once you start and you get on this fitness grind like this, it goes forever. Like, I'm gonna have to eat healthy and work out for the rest of my life. So if you're not dedicated to yourself, don't even start, because you're wasting your time. You can't ask your body questions. Like, you do something that you're afraid of and you ask yourself, are you ready to do this? Well, you've already killed half of the determination in yourself because you're giving yourself an option to say no. What I do with myself is I wake up in the morning and I say, you know, let's get it.
I'm getting diesel right now, so I got the eye of the tiger, you know what I'm saying? Quick start, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Just did like a 5-mile run, stop, hike, waterfall thing, man. And you know what? You would think that after all of that you would feel exhausted, but you know how I feel? I feel rich. Sit.
I decided to create the Mixed Fit Turn Up because in my Zumba classes, the ladies were having a blast. Here we go.
Class was great. We had a blast. It was so much fun. I had a good workout.
Oh my God. It was a workout for real.
Had a great time. Even the white girl learned how to dance. It was a lot of energy and we had a blast.
However, there was something missing. I wanted to keep it authentic to Houston flavor, to that Southern flavor. Too short. So the ladies wanted to get ratchet. So we decided that we were gonna start something where we could have good, clean, ratchet fun. You know, it's a big woman gang. Everybody's Beyonce. Everybody's on stage. When you're there, you're on stage. You're having fun. And so, I mean, it's like having a big old crew. I absolutely feel like we are at the beginning of a self-love revolution, like for real. Anytime you step outside of yourself and achieve something that you never thought possible, I think you start looking at yourself different. Like, God damn, you're a champ.
Holistic health is not just focusing on exercise or what you eat or meditating and doing yoga. It's all three. So it's mind, body, and spirit. So I feel like the one person that truly embodies holistic health, like who's really the prototype, is Stickman from Dead Prez. And he's pretty much dedicated his whole life now to putting a message of health out there to the urban community. When I went to his house, it blew my mind because we went to Atlanta and he opens the door and it just felt so good in their home. And for one, it was great to see a healthy black family doing all this stuff together and, you know, picking vegetables and cooking them right away. And they're the prototype, in my opinion. They're very much into the mind, body, and spirit of it all.
There's a Buddhist story of the farmer who knows what's good or bad. Farmer's horse runs off. His neighbor comes over and says, "Oh, I'm sorry you lost your horse, man." And the farmer he's like, who knows what's good or bad. Maybe a week later, that same horse comes back with 12 more horses following him. And so his neighbor sees all the horses and he's like, "Wow, man, what a blessing. You know, you got all these new horses for free." And farmers is like, who knows what's good or bad. Soon after that, the farmer's son, riding one of these fancy new horses that they got, falls off and breaks his leg though. So the neighbor sees that and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry what happened to your son." But the wise farmer just says, who knows what's good or bad. The king of the province is coming to draft all the young men for war. And they get to the farmer's house to get his farmer's son. But he got a broken leg, so he don't have to go to war. So not just the moral of this story, but the moral of life. When we decide it's good or bad is when we attach a perception. And that's how we can be disappointed. And that's how we suffer.
A real dis-ease is when you have a dis-easement in yourself. And it starts here. It starts in your brain, and it sends that signal to the rest of your body that you're at a dis-ease, and that's why they call it a disease. A lot of diseases are like just you stressing yourself so far out over either something you can't control or something that's gonna be controlled anyway. My mom used to tell me when I was little, like, cry all you want to, you're just gonna have a headache. All right, your nose gonna be running, you have a headache, you still gotta finish your homework. So I learned to get that part out of the way and learn to get that stress out of the way, kind of take the chains off of it, let it go, because whether you realize it, all day long, everybody's doing this, even whether you realize it or not.
Being attached to anything in the world, valuing anything in the world will cause you suffering. So the less you hold on to this neediness, the better off you'll be. And it's not something that I write in my book because it sounds good. It's something that Abraham and Jesus and Muhammad and Lord Buddha and in the Yoga Sutras it's stated. It's over and over again. The smart people tell us this shit. Don't attach yourself to things that have nothing to do with your happiness. With business guys, they're so funny. Like they get some money and they're excited for a second. They get happy because the stock exchange goes up and their heart gets down because the stock goes down, and their happiness is manufactured.
People are literally killing themselves trying to attain material wealth because they think that's what's going to make them happy.
It's all about how you feel inside, that motivation that keeps you confident and all that. You know what I mean? Some people buy the material shit because ain't nothing else good about them.
Those outer things really can come and go. But you know, what you have inside is yours. That's yours forever, and that's what you have to nurture for the rest of your life, and that's what will sustain you when you don't have the change, because the material things will come and go. You will be the hottest artist at one point, and then at some point people be trying to remember your name.
You know, the human mind and the subconscious mind, it's strange pieces of our equipment too.
Your mind is going to take you to that next level on where you're trying to go. When you're in the playoff game 7, so to speak, you really can't depend on your body. You have to depend on your mind.
Know how powerful you are. Women, we are powerful.
Running in general is certainly a time that your thoughts make or break that run. If you have a day where you feel like, I'm tired, I'm hot, this is far, if you let that pattern of thoughts go, you're not having a good run. And then another day, your same body, your same mind, your same road that you run on, I felt like I could run for days. I had energy and I was just thinking and it was just beautiful, and your thoughts fed that. But our perception is what gives us that experience. Negative or positive or whatever, it's just perception.
Most of the time when we don't feel good, it's because of our thoughts. We wake up in the morning, we just have a bad feeling, an icky feeling or something like that. How we react to those feelings is up to us. And I think that's what meditation helps you with. It helps you clear away sort of the artificial thoughts, and it brings out the organic thoughts.
So while we meditate, the practice of the mind can be slowed down, so we don't have the noise, the mind is settled. This is the kind of stillness, this kind of focus that promotes bliss.
The difference I've noticed with meditation is we're more peaceful in ourselves. Like it's a time that you can take for yourself to just be still, and it allows the universe to just open up and just have things for you that maybe you weren't able to see clearly if you weren't meditating.
There's something about being in tune with yourself when you meditate and just communing with yourself that is like one of the most purest things you can do. There's nothing outside that can disturb your world, and it's all you dealing with you.
The whole idea of hip-hop and popular culture or whatever is about cool. Being under pressure, having your composure, nothing can move you, and you just that solid. Meditation, though, is a way to cultivate that real cool, that actual cool under pressure.
And I think a lot of times we carry around a lot of noise in our head. And when you meditate, what you're doing is you're breathing in and just focusing on breathing in. If any other thoughts come, you say thank you, but no thank you. And you try to just focus on breathing in as deep as you can and breathing out. But what happens is when we're stressed, we're taking a breath in, and as soon as you think about that stressful thing, you breathe out again, and you're breathing really shallow, and that's bad for your health. It makes you more stressed, right? Breathing shallow is a fear response. So when you're taking deep breaths and just focusing on one thing, a lot of that other noise and stress just falls away. Breathing through life is the solution to everything. If we all took a deep breath before we made a poor decision, maybe we wouldn't make it.
When you use meditation along with eating a whole foods plant-based diet, some walking and moderate exercise, and spending more time with your loved ones, that these simple changes can not only help prevent but even reverse the most common and serious conditions. It can lower your blood pressure, it can lower your cholesterol levels even.
What we're finding is that transcendental meditation, when offered in underserved urban schools, that there's a dramatic transformation in that school when now every child or teenager in the school has the ability for 10 minutes twice a day to close his or her eyes as part of the school day and just experience a state of rest and relaxation deeper than sleep. The child is alert, calm, wide awake. And for education, they call learning readiness the most important thing in education, and for learning readiness, what they want is restful alertness.
Kids, rather than having all the distractions and noise in their mind, need to be free to act accordingly. A kid becomes a better student, becomes less violent, anxiety disappears.
It's so many issues that youth deal with that I don't think they have an outlet for that sometimes. Meditation can help them to just be centered. You know, it gives you a confidence, it gives you a sense of peace.
The need for transcendental meditation or quiet time in schools is absolutely unequivocally apparent. 10 million children suffer from depression and are on antidepressant medication. 5 million children are diagnosed with ADHD and other learning disorders. And the number 3 cause of death in America among teenagers is suicide.
So they actually did a study that showed that a 10-year-old kid that grows up like in a distressed urban neighborhood is dealing with the same level of post-traumatic stress as a man or a woman coming back from combat in Iraq or Afghanistan.
You also know that when a child doesn't graduate, they enter the prison pipeline to the tune of a $2 million per child bill to society. And there's like 40% dropout rate now in our inner city high schools. And you can't medicate that away, and you can't give every child in-depth, counseling. But what you can do is equip them with a simple tool that any one of them can learn easily, instantaneously.
So pick a sound. There are lots of sounds that people meditate on. It can be Om, Shalom, Salam, Amin, Amen, it can be anything. Close your eyes and do that. And let it fill up your whole breath. So take a breath in, until you run out of air. Do it again. Stop, do it again. Now, what's going to happen, your mind will wander. You'll start to think about, I got to do this, I forgot to do that. As soon as you become aware you're thinking about something else, bring it back over and over and over again. That's meditation.
So you start seeing an improvement in test scores. Studies that were done in San Francisco public high schools. The worst schools have become among the best schools in the district. Test scores, for example, for English and math, 40% improvement in test scores. There are so many thousands of kids who you would never think would meditate. Once they learn it, they never want to stop.
I think people would be shocked what a big difference 3 minutes of meditation can do for your life. Especially single mothers who have sole custody of their kids and there's a lot of stress because they're working and then they come right home to their kids. Meditation would change their life.
Poverty makes you very angry. It's very hard to work every day and still can't afford transportation. It's very hard to work every day and not afford decent housing. It's very debilitating to you emotionally and physically at times. And I became a single mother by choice. My son, when I was in high school, I adopted my son from the community because my grandparents took care of me. And so I was doing something that I knew needed to be done, but I didn't have the resources to do it. And that did make me angry. It made me angry to struggle day in and day out, despite working full time and still be living in poverty.
And so many people who are single mothers in disadvantaged situations don't feel very powerful at all. You feel helpless because you don't feel like you have much control. Meditation gives you a way out of that. It gives you a sense of being in control again, of empowering yourself.
Before the kids wake up, before anybody's up, before you have to do any of your motherly duties, just take your moment, your 5-10 minutes, and just...
If you're going through some struggle and you're upset or you're angry, and if you take the time, you will settle. And you'll say, wow, you don't have to be at the mercy of these emotions and things like that.
They reminded me that I had potential and I had the ability to achieve. It seems improbable that I could come from poverty as a single mother to become a PhD holder, but it's very possible when you're willing to invest in yourselves and in your children, and you set the limits to how far you can go.
If the mamas are out there loving themselves and taking care of themselves and showing that to their children and stepping up in a major way, I think when a young man sees his mom in that light, it changes his world.
If you want your kid to be invested in the world in a happy way and not an anxiety-prone way, learn to meditate and teach your children.
As soon as you meditate and you keep your thoughts still, then all of a sudden what really is important will surface. And I think that more people will find that self-love through meditation, and then they'll want to eat healthier and want to treat people in a different way. So I think it all starts in the mind and the spirit.
Well, this will be the last White House kitchen garden planting for me. Yeah, it was 8 years ago that we cooked up this really interesting idea that maybe we could dig up some dirt on the south lawn. Maybe somebody would let us do that, and we would plant a wonderful garden that would be a space for us to talk about the food we eat.
When you talk about holistic health as it relates to the urban community, Because of the homicide rates and the poverty rates and the stress levels there, you're gonna need different types of solutions.
My name is Ron Finley, and we're in South Central Los Angeles, home of the drive-by. Right behind us is what I like to call my urban food forest. What inspired me to create this food forest is the lack of healthy food in this community. I wanted people to see that you can grow your own food and stop waiting for others to do it for you. Grow your own food, empower yourself, empower your community. I wanted people to see how easy and how beautiful it could be. I just want to bring back the health to this community.
So with all these food deserts, there's also a lot of bright spots out there. We went to Detroit and met with a company called Urban Gardening.
I'm from Minneapolis, but I lived on a farm for 3.5 years in my teens. So when I saw all of that unused land in the city, my mind thought, well, why don't we just plant food on that land? So I put my recording career on the back burner and I started urban farming, and we started with 3 gardens in Detroit, Michigan. This is one of the very first pamphlets that I started urban farming with. Let everybody know that we were getting ready to start planting gardens. So then in 2005, we really got started. This is the first garden planting that we did. We grew in the second year. We expanded into Minneapolis, St. Louis, New York, Jamaica, and Los Angeles. This is a running ticker tape. It's in real time, so as soon as somebody registers their garden anywhere in the world, this number goes up, and your garden will appear on the global map. And again, it started in Detroit with just 3 gardens.
My name is Rashid Nuri. I'm the president and founder of Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture. We produce over 30,000 pounds of food each year. We distribute it through our community-supported agriculture. We sell it to some of the finest restaurants in town. We give double value to folks who are on food stamps, and if someone's hungry, we just give them the food. 80% of Americans live in cities. So that's why urban agriculture is becoming more and more important. We are proving the economic viability of urban agriculture.
So it's all about deciding how we're going to have abundant food systems within urban settings. Many organizations now in the United States, schools, faith-based institutions, nonprofit organizations have land, and due to the fact that we're having nutritional challenges with our health all throughout our community, these organizations are trying to revisit their mission.
We are in the 3rd Ward area of Houston, Texas, at Alabama Garden. This property here belongs to Texas Southern University, and they let us use this property to grow vegetables. We have 56 plots in here, and what we grow, we take care of our families, and then we take care of our food bank.
I want people to be able to take the food system back because it's been taken from us. There's over 400 some kinds of carrots. You're lucky if you find 3 of them in the store. It's the same thing with apples. They've narrowed our food choices down. So basically this whole food reality thing is manufactured for us and you're just supposed to follow it. So I want to bring this whole palette, this whole color that we used to have in food, I want to bring that back. So that's why I'm telling people, get gangster with their parkway and grow some food. You know, growing your own food, being healthy, taking back your community, not terrorizing your community, that's gangster to me.
Local food is being pushed throughout the markets, and yet we don't have enough growers. And we definitely don't have enough growers of color that are in a space where they are able to sustain themselves and provide for their family. So we want to figure out how we can bring in our do-for-self attitude with the skills and the technologies that allow us to grow abundant amount of food on small spaces.
You can grow food anywhere. You know, you can grow food in a box on your balcony. You can grow food in buckets. And I tell people, if it's some soil, put something in it because food should be free. It's like printing your own money, period.
One of the things that people said to me when we first started is, you've got to put fences around the gardens. And I said, why? They said, because they're going to steal the food. And I said, well, there's nothing to steal. The food is free.
You cannot eat all the food that you can grow. It's damn near impossible. You would be eating all day, every day. Just imagine if we had a place where everybody had their parkways planted. Now you have a community that's engaging one another. I can tell somebody, hey, go over to Quincy's and give me some carrots. I can send my son over there and you can send your son over to my house and get some onions. Gardens build community, and that's real. That's just period, it does.
What's important is getting people to break bread, to have conversation. The community and the society becomes more civil when they're able to share and to be healthy.
Through urban agriculture, you can find a way to address most of the urban ills, whether it's people are overweight, creating green spaces, giving work for community service.
We also work with returning citizens that are coming out of jail and they need to get community service hours. They would do that on our gardens, but the difference was they're not, making money for somebody else. They're actually cultivating this food for the community, for themselves, for their family and friends.
Basically, this is against the law because You know, the city owns this property, but you have to maintain it. It's ridiculous because we have all this barren land and all this space around here that serves no purpose whatsoever. I want to get something out of it. We're not cows. We can't eat grass.
Why wouldn't we plant food on that land? Like, why would people be going hungry? There used to be a day and age when people, when they saw unused land, they immediately thought about planting.
There are a lot of black folk that want to have nothing to do with growing anything and think what we're doing is too close to slavery. Older people, in particular, who are only 1 or 2 generations out of slavery, don't want to do this, not understanding that the earth is where all the wealth comes from.
Yeah, that legacy does exist with slavery, you know, the whole, oh, we don't do in the dirt. Oh, I don't do worms, you know, and I think we have to flip the script and let these people know, no, this is powerful. You control your destiny. Soil, to me, is powerful.
I hear a lot of people say when you bring up being healthy or being vegan or being in shape and all that, is I think a lot of people under the impression that you need to be wealthy or be rich or famous. Our true nature, going back to Africa, is to be healthy and eco-friendly, you know. To this day, we're very eco-friendly and healthy there. In Africa, they don't really believe in eating food that's been refrigerated. You know, they want to pick everything fresh, whether it's meat or vegetables or fruits. Everything is very fresh, you know, so it's actually part of our nature, but we've gotten away from that. We have more to learn by far from them in terms of wisdom and, quite frankly, just being happy, you know what I mean? Like in these areas, everybody's happy, they're feeling good. There's a lot of lessons that I think we can learn from here, you know, just seeing our essence in a different light. They got probably far more struggles than we do, but the way they process it is just so different. So it's very endearing, and there's a lot of love and warmth here, you know.
We don't have good toilet, we don't have good bathhouse, you know. We're just maintaining. You see, always I tell myself that I can see joy through the pain, because when you come to the ghetto, all you see is pain, but everybody just humble and cool.
Your strengths come from Africa. The advantage that you have over everybody else in the world, really, is your Africanness. When slaves ended up in America, they didn't suddenly forget everything that they had learned, you know what I mean, and how they treat their children, and how they treat their parents, and how they treat their brothers and sisters. So if African Americans didn't have that African in them, they'd be just like the rest of the people, you know what I mean? Their value, in spite of all the hurdles and obstacles and victimization and things which have been thrown in the paths of African Americans, they have been able to overcome. We shall overcome.
Stabilizing a food system allows for the great thinkers, the great musicians, the great healers, the great teachers to come because they're being born into a society that nourishes them. We grew food as a communion with nature, with the understanding that everyone should eat. The elders should eat, the children should eat, but everyone should eat the best possible food so we can get the best possible results from every member of the society. So what happens once we monetize the food system? The best food was being sold or distributed to just certain people. So then you had a huge population that was malnourished.
If you're constantly worrying about how you're going to eat, that's a file folder that never shuts down in your mind. So all your energy is going into that problem. But if you can take that problem off your plate, then you might be able to start thinking about, oh, well, I'd like to get training to get a job, and I can now put my energy into that. And ultimately, people who have jobs, people who are getting training, that's what you want in a healthy city.
I said, if you can't eat, you can't think. And if you can't think, you can't learn. If you can't learn, you can't earn. I'll give you an example of one young man that I met. He said to me that I used to work in these gardens, you know, as a volunteer. And I said, really? I said, well, what are you doing now? And he said, well, I'm a male nurse. And I said, wow, that's great. I said, how'd you start to become that? How did that happen? He said, well, you know, from urban farming, from what I did, I learned how to care for something outside of myself.
It's more than a gardening organization. Why? We talk about healthy eating, we talk about healthy thinking, we talk about healthy finances, healthy fitness, healthy families. It's a holistic approach to healing.
You know, in terms of finding, you know, the healthy community wherever you live, like finding that group of people that you consider to be peers with and When you're around people that are healthy, you know, automatically you pick up a lot of their habits.
So this is our fridge. And so since we're vegetarian, it's a lot of veggies, you know.
So if you're around successful people who want to treat themselves well, you're going to probably fall into that. If you're around people who want to do something bad to other people and have a negative mindset, you're going to fall into that.
I think people don't eat healthy in the hood because they're not hip to it. And you get caught up when you're in the hood and just what's around you. They don't know that the people that are living the longest and living the best pretty much try to eat healthy. I was tired of just eating fast food. Like, from me having common knowledge of how I was growing up, because at home I would eat veggies and fruits. I was missing all of that because I was going with too much fried food, just too much. So I started thinking, damn, let me start juicing up to somewhat balance it out or just throw something good in my body because I had so much bad in my body. It just became like part of my culture and part of my way of life. And the more I kept living like that, I started noticing over a period of time, I stopped eating fast food. Like, I started eating at home better. I started shopping better for myself. I started doing more baked things, more grilled things, eating more veggies, drinking more juices. Then I started noticing the change in my body. Then I was feeling real great about myself. I lost a lot of weight. And I was like, wow, like this really, really, really works. There's something about living healthy that gives you a different engine. Like, you know what I mean? And this is what people don't tell you, like, and this is real. This is what we try to share at Juices for Life. Something about living healthy gives you an engine. It's like cleaning it out. Juicing up, eating right, and exercising is gonna help you in your life. That's what it's about, so we can all live right. This is what's in. Like, anybody who you like, any modern pop star you like, any rapper you like, any athlete you like, this is what they do. This is the key to cool. Juice up, steam your food, exercise. Health is wealth, movement is medicine. Feel rich.
I've been to Atlanta tons of times since my early 20s. I've been coming to Atlanta for the last 20, 30 years. And I never knew there was a vegan urban community within the Atlanta scene. I didn't know that.
We are at Soul Vegetarian in Midtown Atlanta. This is like one of the restaurants that I had to find when I became a vegan. I think people, they have misconstrued what vegans eat, that we can't eat the same type of food or it's not as good as the regular food. And this place is a soul food restaurant that speaks to anybody that's saying that. They got greens, potato salad, cornbread, rice and gravy. It's just cooked in a different way.
You can't eat organic and then go back to eating crap. Oh, no, I'm doing wrong. It's like I'm giving myself cancer right now eating this hamburger.
I became a vegan after I went on like a 22-day fast. The way your body feels after you clean your body, you just can't put that stuff back in there. So I wasn't really on the mindset to become a vegan. I was thinking I had to just start eating cleaner. But I felt so clean, I was just like, I'm gonna go all the way with it. And the fast basically lets you know that majority of the time when you're hungry, it's more mental than it actually is real hunger.
People have this term that they say, I need a comfort food. And so many times people turn to food for comfort. But when I came to Project Girl Houses, I made a real concerted effort to have a holistic change and approach. And I realized that food didn't need to comfort me. I had people, community activities to comfort me.
On the quest of holistic living, I think one of the most important things is to learn and become aware of yourself. And I started to know myself and know that I felt better when I was eating fish. It had to be clean, good fish, And don't get me wrong, some days I still go home and eat some catfish that my mother fried, but that's not what I would do on an everyday.
One thing they don't tell you at the grocery store, you go to the outer perimeter, that's where all the good, healthy food is at. The inside of the shelves, that's where all the processed food is at. All the stuff is bad for you, so go to the outside.
The more color you have in your food, the better. So I try to put tomato, onion, bell pepper, all these things in every meal that I prepare.
You notice how low the prices are too. And most of these prices are per pound, and this isn't even a pound. This celery right here, for a price of a Snicker, this is about 6 or 7 snacks right here, for the price of one Snicker.
I'm noticing some things that I used to eat that I don't eat as much anymore. I love brisket. But brisket's not an every weekend meal for me anymore. Other things that I always pass up, pre-processed, pre-packaged things, because I don't know what's being put on that. I don't know what goes into cooking that. But I know that I'm gonna put only heart healthy and healthy things on my meat.
I didn't even know there was a difference from fried and bake or broil. I just thought everything was fried. There is a difference, there is a choice.
You can justify eating anything, you know. I've heard some funny lines, you know, about guys make up these lies about food, you know.
For me to be able to say, I'm not gonna eat meat and I'm not gonna eat dairy, it gave me a discipline that helped, that started affecting other aspects of my life. And I wanna make this point clear, it's like, being vegetarian or vegan doesn't necessarily say that you are all the way healthy. You have to find what the things are to eat, because at one point when I was vegetarian, I would just eat French fries and salads, and that wasn't really healthy, you know? So you have to find the things that are good for your body.
I wish somebody would have told me earlier about becoming a vegan. Like when I was like 16, my health would be incredible. And I can honestly say, like, if you run around and work and stay in the studio and party as much as I do, this is the only lifestyle for you.
Yeah, your energy is totally different. Your brain works different. And you can tell the difference in if you go to eat, eat a bunch of Popeyes or eat a bunch of grease. You're gonna be so tired as soon as you get to the house, or go to work, forget about it, you get lazy. But when you eat at a certain standard, it's even more fun. It's like you find somebody who cooks it right, and it's not oily and it's not heavy.
I like coming to this place, My 2 Cents, because I love the energy here, the food, the people cook with love. My 2 Cents is in the community in Los Angeles where people from the inner city can have access to it. And I love this restaurant, the vibe is right.
I am Chef Elisa Reynolds, originally from Los Angeles. I've done events for everyone from Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Common, Reggie Bush, Matt Kemp. It's an old Southern saying. You put your 2 cents in. So this is my 2 cents, my version of what traditional American food from the South is. I saw the numbers of people that were dying of diabetes and obesity, and I wanted to do something different, but I always felt you can't change someone sharply. It's about changing people's mind without changing the dish. It's not trying to change people instantly, it's turning them on to new things, and slowly, it could change people's lives.
See, the thing is, you gotta be able to ease it by and not tell. Like, you have to prepare it so that people can't tell the difference in it, or automatically your brain just shuts it out.
I had a couple come in, and he's eating the gumbo, and he's like, man, the sausage is so good. And his whole family is around, and I'm like, oh, that's vegan sausage. And he just stopped chewing. And his wife, everybody started laughing, and she's like, he's so against vegetarian anything. He just assumed that it was meat. It's mental, It's a mental reality that people just are stuck with over generations and generations.
I think it's just getting the community exposed to it. Good tasting food that has healthy options to it.
If I try to keep the tradition that people recognize and change the method, it will change the way they look at it in general. But I have to tell them afterwards.
You do it for you first, You're not doing it to offend anybody. You're not doing it to prove to somebody. Like when people be like, oh, were you pescatarian? I'll be like, no, I just eat fish. No matter what you call it, with the purpose that you're doing it for.
I say start now, start slowly. If it's one day a week that you try something new.
Don't go home and eat a pot of rice or a pot of spaghetti. Eat some salad with that chicken or with that steak or with that fish. Sauteed vegetables. Tell your moms I want vegetables, man.
I just ate this whole meal. I don't feel tired, sleepy, or nothing. I just had soul food. I'm not over here like this. I'm ready to go, leave here and go to the studio and get my work on. So that's what it was for me. I don't want nothing that's gonna slow me down.
My friend eats, elephant's ass and he's happy, and we're good. Your friend's a unique person with special genes, that don't mean, oh, you can smoke cigarettes. My dad lived to 100 smoking cigarettes. Your fucking dad was special, to tell you, you know what I mean? Is that what's gonna tell you? If you're doing well, with a bad diet, if you're doing well and you don't work out, just think you can do better. You can all do better.
Since the last interview, we definitely got better. Hustle Fit is a real brand in Houston now. Everywhere you go, all around Texas, you can see people rocking the Hustle Fit brand and supporting the movement and being a part of the movement.
What is Hustle Fit? To me, Hustle Fit is a lifestyle. We want to always emphasize the hustle. We put the hustle in big and the fit in small letters so people can realize that, the hustle is in everything you did, whether if it was in the gym, whether it was at work, whether it was in education-wise, going to school, trying to get that degree for college, Everything you do, you have to hustle for. And what it is every day you try to be better than you were yesterday.
Well, I can't call myself a hustler if I ain't hustling to take care of myself also. I think it's 50-50. I think it's about, you know, taking care of yourself, and after you leave the gym, go and get on your own hustle and figure out, you know, how to be successful in this world.
Not a lot of people that look like me, you know, make it out and get to see a different part of the world. You know, I got some friends that's still stuck in that circle, but they see me doing something that's not selling dope, or I'm not locked up, I'm not dead or in jail, you know, and I go back, you know, and I can touch them and show them where I'm at. It inspires them to want to get better and do better. And they realize stuff does exist outside of the hood, and you can make it doing honest living.
I gave up smoking, I gave up drinking, and I gave up cheating on my meals. You know, without all that, I felt lighter. I felt like, you know, I was in a better mood, and I got a lot more stuff done.
We inspire people, whether it's through social media, through fitness competitions that we're doing. You know, the feedback that we get from people. Hey, I've been watching you guys, and you guys motivated me. You know, I've been down in life, and it's been hard, but just watching you guys live your lives day to day and really repping it, it's just giving me hope, and it's pushing me to go forward.
People come up to me randomly and say, man, we seen how far you came, we seen how you changed since back in the day, and it motivates us to get in the gym and start working on ourselves and getting better.
What better service can you do than the service of someone else helping them change their lifestyle? And once that happened, man, it kind of just took off, and I haven't looked back since.
It's just like everything. If you want to be successful in anything, you got to have the discipline, you got to have the drive, and you know, it's just about challenging yourself, man.
This is not easy, and it takes a lot of discipline. You have to have self-motivation. You have to establish that mindset, get around the right people, some people that are going to push you to be at your best, and the sky's the limit.
Feeling rich is just, you know, being mentally, spiritually, physically, you know, at your best.
My thing is this. You know Fat Joe your whole life. Fat Joe. You know him for a million years. If he lost weight, you can lose weight. I'm not special in no way, shape, or form. I am not Superman. I am just like you. If I took you in the gym right now, I would do the same thing you do. There's nothing incredible. I'm not running up a mountain, doing backflips. You know, I'm going on the treadmill for a little 25 minutes watching TV. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. And you know, I'm done. I worked out.
Since our last interview, I've lost 50 pounds in total. The benefits to having a healthier lifestyle are that your children are living a healthier lifestyle. We really stay on them about portion control, about vegetables, because we didn't grow up with that. We have diabetes in our family. My father passed away from cancer. We're breaking the cycle with our children's futures. You know, they'll pass that along to their kids. Maybe they won't have to suffer from diabetes. Maybe they'll make healthier choices.
I want people to know. I don't want them to have these health problems knowing, damn, man, I could have stopped this 20 years ago if only I would have just exercised a little bit more, drunk a little bit more water instead of drinking soda. I think that's the thing. People don't want to change their lifestyle. They just want to look good. But it takes hard work to look good. When you go work out and you're done working out, you might be sore, but man, you're gonna feel good. On stage too, I'm bouncing around, jumping around, doing things I couldn't do when I was big. I'm not out of breath. I can still give my all and give a hell of a performance.
I know the hard work it used to take into rocking the show. And now it's almost like I'm gliding and I'm laughing. Joint game 7, laughing, I'm at him laughing. Ha! Turn around, woo! I'm on the other side like, what's up?
I think entertainers, especially rappers, getting in shape, 50 Cent, Fat Joe, myself, I think definitely is going to provide some kind of motivation for somebody. When people see that, then they can see, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
We can take the responsibility to say, this is my lifestyle, and people start gravitating towards it.
And if they've been some kind of successful, like let's use a Drake or even a 2 Chainz, you look on his Instagram, he's like, look at this Brussels sprouts. Look at this, you know. He's eating super healthy, and he shows it on his thing.
You boast and brag to him about keeping your body right, keeping your temple right. The same way we boast and brag about the jewels, the cars, the women. You can't enjoy none of that if you're not in good health. Maybe everybody's not going, yo, it's cool, because they don't see a dollar in it, but it's not about a dollar. You're your biggest dollar. If your health is bad, I don't care how much money you have. If you're in the hospital, you can't enjoy it. I can enjoy $20 in good health more than you could enjoy $20,000 in bad health.
I'm not gonna tell you it's the easiest thing to do, but it's the greatest thing I've done in my life. Now that I lost 100 pounds, I'm enjoying living rather than hoping I don't die because I'm overweight and because of the way I'm eating.
I look at my body as something that I need to allow me to be healthy, to be whole, because my body is now no longer a liability but an asset.
So when we did my dad's first interview for this documentary, he was a little bit overweight, and he had some health habits that his doctors had tried to talk to him about, you know, and he wasn't really listening. And every time we tried to get him to pay attention, you know, he would be like, okay, well, let's see if anything is wrong. And every time it turned out that there wasn't anything concrete that we can point to get him to stop doing certain things, eating certain types of food and that sort of thing. And then out of nowhere, he had, I'm not sure what you call it, but like a diabetes attack where he went into a coma. And when he woke up from that a few days later, the doctors gave him a warning and told him, you know, if you do any of the things we told you not to do, one more time, that could be it. Like, this was basically your final warning. Like, should be a wake-up call. And my dad listened.
Since January 8th last year, 2015, I was informed that because of my overindulgence in sugar and sweet stuff, that I was supposed to die. I got that wake-up call and I took advantage of it, and I heard it loud and clear. And I have not had a drop of alcohol in 19 months. And I feel 19 years old, clear as a bell, and never been more creative in my life. And I will never go back. I do not miss it at all.
And it's kind of a testament to, like, once you start the momentum of getting healthier and you realize how good it feels, you know, it's hard to go back.
Push now. Push, push, push. More. Come on, there you go. Great job. Good job. Perfect.
My wish is that everybody gets to at least feel that feeling so they know what it is, so that they can get hooked on it, you know. It's not the worst thing to be hooked on at all. So.
For me, this is one of the most important documentaries I get to be a part of, because healthy living is very valuable to my life. It means a lot. I feel like it's really just a way of showing love to myself, saying I do value me. You know, some people think when you eating healthy, it's about like just the way you look and the weight. Well, that just comes along with it. That's a plus. The inside is what it really is about. Like, and then you get the outer with it. So why not? Like, that's just a big bonus that you start looking better just because you're feeling better and eating healthier. People would be like, man, you glowing. And that glow, I love that glow. That glow is, like, people think I need to put on the makeup and I need to have a fresh haircut and outer things, but that inner glow is the beauty. And that's all holistic living.
It's complete and total wellness, meaning inside, outside, mentally, physically, all of that. You want to feel rich.